think we can call the meeting to order. Okay, I guess let me know when it's ready. We're on time. Megan, who will I go to for that?
You can go to community development.
Okay, is that where it runs through?
That your contractor will pull it from that, you can add.
Okay, so it'll just be an addition. All right, we will call the meeting of the Mineral Mining Review Board to order. First, we will open with general public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to comment on non-public hearing items and other issues not on the agenda today. Is anyone interested in that? Seeing none, I think we can move to the draft Mineral Mining Review Board minutes from last year's meeting on February 26, 2025. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on the previous meeting's minutes? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion and support for approval.
I'll make that motion since I think I was the only one that was at that meeting.
And support? All right, motion from Travis and support from Megan. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, Paula, I'm wondering, do we need to proceed through an election of officers because we are replacing a chair that's no longer serving on the board? Okay. We still have our vice chair, but I think our secretary and chair are no longer with the city, so if we can look for motion to elect officers. So we'll need nominations for chair and secretary for the meeting.
Did you have some thoughts on that, Paula?
I think procedurally it doesn't matter really who.
Okay. So, I mean, are you the chair?
As of right now, I'm the presiding officer, and then it would be an election for chair, I think is the way it would be.
Okay. Whatever makes sense. I don't like it. So does the chair run the meeting or the
Yes,
presiding officer runs
just
the meeting?
So it's only presiding officer in the context of we haven't elected a chair.
Okay.
And then once we elect a chair, that person will run the meeting.
Okay.
That's
Does it make sense to have a city commissioner to be the chair to run the meeting?
I don't think there is any problem with it. If
Okay.
that is the interest of the board, I don't think it really matters either way. It's just a matter of who's comfortable.
I'm only bringing it up because I say a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think the thought process in having me run the meeting was just in that you do have lots of comments and presiding can be a little less involved in that way.
okay.
But I suppose if anyone wants to make a nomination for chair and a nomination for secretary, those are what we're looking for at this point in time.
I'll nominate Stephen Gilbert for chair.
Lovely. All right. All those in favor, I guess, are there any other nominations? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then we'll need a nomination for secretary. Again, this is just, I think you may need to sign the minutes, and that's the scope of the work.
Paula, is that kind of your role in orchestrating this?
It needs to be a board member, so a staff member signs administratively, and we need a member of the board to also sign off on the minutes. So anyone who's not the chair or vice chair can
Yes.
be
So that
nominated
would be you and
secretary.
me at this point.
Okay. Gotcha. So am I the vice chair? Is that the?
Yeah, you're still serving from last year.
So we need a
we did this
secretary at least
election at
three.
the end of the last meeting
Okay.
for this year
Okay.
with the expectation people would still be here, and they're not.
Want to sign the minutes?
Anyone interested? Someone from a different department.
Okay. If Megan's all right doing it, if someone would be willing to nominate Megan.
I'll nominate Megan
Okay.
for secretary.
And if we can get support for that.
Support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have successfully elected officers through a only minimally painful process. Okay, with that, we can move on to business before the board, and I will pass it over to Paula for an overview of the 2026 Mineral Mining Review Board.
Thank you, Chair. I always provide just a brief overview of the process at the start of the packet, and then we'll get into the 5 mineral mines that have submitted for today. As an overview, We're running the same process of the reviews this year as we have the last 2 years. It seems to streamline things and keep everybody on track. So we do a staff review committee meeting where all the minds come and we talk through the plans at a technical level. They revise those plans in response to the comments and resubmit. Those resubmitted plans are the ones we are reviewing today. And that meeting took place in late January, and we have the revised plans today. And then I put together a packet for each of the mines. I give a summary report, as well as there's all of the application materials compiled for easy review, including the application form itself, all of the required attachments, and then the plan sets themselves. And so that's for everyone to review. And then we'll do the formal reviews today, and each mine that gets approved will, if there's any conditions of approval, provide those to the Community Development Department, and we work with the clerk's office to issue the license for this upcoming calendar year. So that is the overview, and if it pleases the chair, I'll just jump right into the first mine.
Please do.
All right, our first mine for review is the Meekhof Properties LLC Lakeside Aggregate Mine. I have the plans pulled up on the screen here in front of us. So this mine is located on Butterworth and addresses on Butterworth and O'Brien, and it crosses both Walker and the property line into Grand Rapids. They did receive a license last year. There were minimal conditions at the board last year. Those were met, and they received their license in good standing. So just as a brief summary, we have on file compaction test records from April and December of 2025. The fence certification letter is current based on a November 25 visit to the site. And their letter of credit on file was just today updated through the year, so that is good to go. From my perspective, I have all of the kind of housekeeping background information that we need to proceed. And then as a note, this mine is unique compared to the other ones that will be reviewed because it does not have the potential for redevelopment after reclamation, as this site is undermined with gypsum mines, and therefore the reclamation plan contains only proposed grading and vegetation. And that's what I have for the board. And then I've got the plans pulled up on the screen, so if anybody wants to see anything in particular, just let me know and I'll pull it up for the board.
Great, thank you. Do we have any initial questions or comments from the board for Paula? If not, I'd love if the applicant is willing to come up and just provide us an update on the project.
Hi there, I'm Chris Miller with Nativeld. I'm the engineer for the site plan for the Meekhof sand mine. I have Doug Meekhof here with me. As we discussed at our previous meeting, most of the operations working on the fill in the west pit. Continuing with that kind of as it has been in years past. Conditions that we had addressed were some revisions to the soil boring report. There was a addendum attached that from Soils and Structures regarding the compactness in the results of those tests. We also revised the schedule on this mine, took a look at kind of what's being expected for the market, and got that updated to what we think is reasonably accurate as well.
And Paula, did you say I gave you the soil erosion fees as well too? I don't know.
Yes, Kaylee will cover that when she presents.
Great. Any questions for the applicant at this point in time? All right, thank you very much. At this point, I think next steps would be to open the public hearing. I'll need a motion support for that.
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion from Travis and support from Megan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, is anyone here from the public to comment on this project? I would expect not. All right, seeing none, then we will look for a motion and support to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The public hearing is closed. All right, now into additional discussion, comments, feedback from the board here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and just say, Chris, thank you for addressing all of our comments that we had from a month ago when we met around the table. It was really minor stuff, but important stuff. Chris mentioned that we had some compaction test results. Our ordinance requires percent compaction to be shown, and they used a type of test that doesn't show that. It's still a legitimate engineering test. So the engineer went ahead and stated on there that 90% compaction is at least met, which is what is required for undeveloped areas, and that's the end use of this plan. So that's sufficient. They also added some notes about specific compaction and testing procedures, which I appreciate because I think that just communicates to, as they're doing work out there, hey, we're going to compact in 1 foot lists, or we're going to test every 5 feet. And I think that's good to have on the plans. And then something you're going to see on all of these plans that we took a look at was the completion date. Some of these plans are getting close to them. This one, not so much. I think it was showing a 2030 completion date. That's been pushed out to 2038, which is, as we tell the developers, that's fine. We just want to be honest on the plans as best as we can. And these are all anticipated dates. So I appreciate all the updates, and I have no comments.
Great. Any others?
I received one complaint about the property on Monday. There has been a sign that's labeled processing entrance placed in the city right of way. So in looking at the ordinance requirements, it allows for one sign at the entrance with your hours and name of operation. So if it's possible to get that processing entrance information included on the other sign, that would meet ordinance requirements. Like I've got it on a picture, sorry. Is that not yours? It's next to the west pit. Yeah. So it's located right here. Here's the west pit. It's located over there.
That's not our sign.
Oh, maybe Grinder if it's put it there by error.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check with Scott out there, but I know that's not our sign.
Okay, thank you.
Now that we're doing butter work, is that something to do with that?
I don't think, not that I know of.
I'll check with Scott.
Great, thank you. Any other items for discussion on this project? All right, well, with that, I think we would then look for a motion on the license renewal.
Make a motion.
That would be in favor of renewing, correct? Yes.
Yep, and I'll support it.
All right, motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, all set. All right, on to the next project. We've got the Cordis Mine.
Yes, the next mine up for review is the Cordis mine located on Maynard and Butterworth addresses. I'll do a similar review as to the first one. The applicant last year didn't have any conditions of approval, received their license, and are still in good standing. Most recent compaction tests on record are from May of 23, so that's a few years ago. The fence certification letter is current based on a November 25 visit to the site. The letter of credit on file is effective through January 1 of 27, so they are all squared away there. This mine has an end-use plan consisting of 2 new roads with cul-de-sacs and a total of 21 lots for single-family residential development. And similarly, I have the plans pulled up if anybody would like to see anything in more detail.
Great, thank you. Is there any initial questions or comments from the board for Paula? All right, seeing none, if we can have the applicant come up and provide an update.
Back again. Mr. Cortez could not make it today, so I'll be representing him for today. Same kind of thing we had going on previously, just maintaining that mineral removal operation, continuing to work that active slope. The comments that we looked at for this site again were schedule. Went through, reevaluated that, got a accurate schedule for what we were feeling on market conditions. And then there was some old silt fence in a reclaimed area. Steve told me that's been pulled out, so that should be good to go. I believe those were the only two that we had on this one.
Great, thank you. Any initial questions or comments from the board? All right, then I will look for a motion and support to open the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? All right, the public hearing is open. Is there anyone from the public looking to comment on the project? Seeing none, I will look for a motion and support to close the public hearing. All right, we've got a motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The public hearing is closed. All right, additional discussion from the board.
Yeah, Chris, I think that was a good summary. Those were my two main comments on this site, was getting rid of that old silt fence up at 703 Maynard. I appreciate that being gone because that stuff will last forever. So thank you for getting that out of there. And then I think you're still anticipating a 2030 completion date, which is fine. So I don't think this one had much of a schedule change. One question that just popped into my head when I heard Paula talk about the latest soil borings we had out there being 3 years old now. Is that because, and Kristen, you can answer this, is that because it's just active mining going on right now? And I would ask that maybe next year that we start showing some potential borings as we work towards 2030 for where compaction will occur.
Yeah, I want to say this has sort of come up before. So currently still removing material, so can't really.
Yep.
It's not there. And then once the overburden starts getting placed, I believe there's a general note on there about
Yep.
compaction and 1 foot lifts and testing. Or on this one, it might be something a comprehensive geotech report to evaluate the fill. I know there was a note that we added on that.
Yep.
To address that. But
Yeah.
really, like, those tests will happen once the overburden starts getting put back into place to reestablish the slope.
Yep. I think at the end of every project, whenever a mine is wrapped up, we kind of want to see all of these soil borings that have gone on over the years kind of wrapped up into a report, knowing that that's not the be all end all of the site, but at least gives information to the next buyer as to what occurred there. I think it's been really good, like on the Meekhof site, you've been showing spots where actual testing is to occur as fill comes in. So I would just say, not a condition this year, but when the time comes for fill to come in, to maybe start adding those locations, just to clearly communicate where they're at would be helpful. So that's not a condition of this year's approval, just kind of open discussion for as we look into next year.
Yep, something good maybe to retain in the minutes. Good. Other comments from the board, questions, concerns? All right, seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve renewal of the license.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Great, motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, all set on that one. We are on to the next project. Paula?
Thank you, Chair. The third mine we'll be reviewing today is the Shoemaker mine with addresses on Burton and Wilson. I've got the plans pulled up on the screen here. Last year, there were, I believe, nominal conditions of approval, and no conditions last year on this site, and they're still in good standing with the city. So this property is unique in that they do not have direct truck route access to a road from their site. So the mine uses this road through an adjacent property and out to Wilson. And we have on record an agreement between the Shoemaker mine owners and the owner of the adjacent property to provide that ingress, egress easement or access over that property at 2313 Wilson Avenue. So we appreciate having that. Compaction tests on file are from 2015, 17, and 18. The fence certification letter is current. The letter of credit on file is effective through February 1 of 27. And this mine has an end-use plan consisting of a new single-family residential development with 25 lots that will actually be accessed from Burton to the north. And so all of the housekeeping things that I need to see to move forward are all in hand.
Excellent. Questions or comments from the board initially? All right, then we would look for the applicant to rejoin us again and provide any updates on the project.
Right. So this one, continuing removing material, getting pretty close to that end use situation. So again, took a comprehensive look at schedule, updated that as we felt was accurate. There was also a note about the buffer on the south property line. So that area's all been reclaimed. There's lots of trees there, so we bumped that out to the normal 30. I added a note just to state that it was 10 in the past, and there might have been work done there at some point. But we got that updated as well. So.
Great. Questions or comments for the applicant? All right, think you're all set. And with that, I will look for a motion and support to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion. I'll support.
All right, motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The public hearing is open. Once again, we invite the public to provide any comment on the project at hand. Seeing none, I will look for a motion and support to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the public hearing is closed. All right, any further discussion on the application here?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start. When we met a month ago, I started off with, I wanted to share a kudos with the mining operator of a nice job of mining to the final contour elevations. I really like that. So the lack of fill means no compaction test, reduces the need for compaction tests. So I'm very appreciative of that. So while we do have some compaction tests here that are a number of years ago, that was for some special situations that occurred, I think, closer to Wilson Avenue, if I remember correctly, from what I was told. The other thing I wanted to say, great job on, Chris, not just these plans, but all of them, but this one has a lot of them, are the historical notes. I appreciate calling out the access easements and where the different property lines have changed with instrument numbers. That really helps us to answer questions should they come up. So that was very helpful. The only thing, I think Chris touched on this, originally they submitted a plan that had a 2027 completion date. Right now they have it 27 to 29, and a lot of it's based upon market conditions, as I understand, which is totally understandable. I think it's smart to give you a little bit of wiggle room there, because when we come up to 27, next year, then there's a whole process to close out the mine. And I think this is one of the ones that we're probably getting really close to being able to close out on, in addition to, I think there's another one coming up later. But yeah, so nice job.
Great. Other comments, questions, concerns? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the renewal here.
I'll make it.
Support.
All right, we got a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have approved the renewal. We have Goodale's Pit next.
Yes, our fourth mine for review is the Goodale Sand Mine, with addresses, access from Butterworth, and also addresses on O'Brien. Last year, there were no conditions placed on the renewal, and the mine is still in good standing. I believe, once again, that no mining took place on this site last year, so the plans probably look very similar to what was reviewed last year. Yep, no mining took place in =25. The fence certification letter is current, and there's a report from the engineer with many photos of the site in the packet, which is appreciative to see the current conditions. The letter of credit on file is effective through October 14, 26, and the applicant will need to provide an updated or an extended letter before the current one expires in order to maintain an active mineral mining license. This has been the case with this mine. That's just the schedule that letter's on. They have always resubmitted in a timely manner, so I am not concerned about that, but I do want to state that for the record. And this mine similarly has an end-use plan with a new single-family residential development. This one shows 37 lots. And that's what I have for the board on this site.
Great. Initial questions or comments? All right, then I would invite the applicant to come up and provide us with an update.
Just me again on this one?
Yep.
Can make it. Same as the other mines, looked at schedule on this, looked at some different dates on when they're expecting to have this moving again. Submitted the inspection report, this was not really anywhere, it's been going on here, go out, verify, check the fence, do all that. There were some additional comments about the driveway again this year, so added some more notes to clarify why that is where it is. Pre-existing condition, that's why it's closer to the lot line than would normally be allowed. So we got that addressed on there, and then there was a note, I believe, about vegetation in an area that's been established. That note was corrected as well. So.
Great, thank you. Questions, comments for the applicant? All right, I think you're all set for now. Then I will look for a motion and support to open the public comment.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we've got motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we once again invite the public to provide any comment on the application at hand. Seeing none, I will look for a motion and support to close the public hearing.
Make the motion.
All right, we got motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have closed the public comment. All right, any further discussion from the board?
All right, I'll start, if you don't mind.
Please.
Chris, thank you for putting that note down there about the driveway and the history. That really helps out a lot, especially for me, because I tend to forget what I talked about the previous year. So, so that was very helpful. Thank you. And it's really just the driveway entrance for the board's benefit. The driveway entrance, it was within the standard buffer that we have against a property line, but the note explains that driveway entrance was there before the property was split, and then the house was built in that location. So I think that's an added, they addressed it in a sufficient manner. I did have one question, Scott, or Chris, on this sheet C300. I think it's just, maybe I misread, or it's right there. There's a note right kind of on the center right of the page. It talks about the 2.1 acres, existing fill area approximately 2.1 acres. Yep. Vegetation growing but not well established yet. I think we talked around the table about maybe it just makes sense to just throw down some loose topsoil and seed and just get that established and be done with it, because I feel like that's kind of been that way for a while. There's no real soil erosion, I think, immediate concern with it. It is somewhat close to a house. So do you have any thoughts on that, Chris, like while we're talking about it, just to get some vegetation established in that area?
Yeah, I'll pass that along to Todd as well, just tell him, hey, let's plant some grass in there. Usually when I go and look at this, it's in like November, so a lot of stuff's kind of dead.
Yeah.
But we can evaluate that once, I can pop out there in the summer as well and see what things are.
Because if it's a reclaimed area, let's just finish it off and be done with it, is what I would say. Yep. Then that's just totally reclaimed and we don't have to have that note on there. Thank you. And then this is not necessarily like a condition, just more of a general reminder. When mining activity resumes, we got a lot of private developments going on in Walker here, so I imagine a lot of sand is going to be coming out. Whenever mining activity resumes on this site in particular, let's just keep an eye on the tracking, the vehicle tracking onto Butterworth. I know you've got the 300-foot paved driveway, which meets our ordinance requirements. And then you added the proposed rock tracking pad, which I'm appreciative of. Let's just keep an eye on that. And then also in the area where the houses are, let's keep an eye on the wind erosion. Sometimes it gets really dry in July and you know water it a little bit. I think your mining's well away from there and it shouldn't be too big of an issue. It's just a general note that I'm sure you're well aware of. That's it.
Great. Other questions, comments, concerns? All right, seeing none, we'll look for a motion to approve the renewal of the license.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Appreciate the work there. And then we are on to Stanley Orchard.
All right, this is our fifth and final mine under review for today's Mineral Mining Review Board hearings. This is the Stanley Orchards mine with addresses on Bristol and 3 Mile. So in this case, last year there were a few notes, an updated letter of credit for the new officer, updated compaction testing for a location that had failed the previous year, and adding a note about mining operations and a geotechnical report, similar to what Travis has been saying today. Those, I believe, were all met. The license was issued, and the mine is in good standing at this time. So as to the kind of housekeeping background materials that I track for the board, the fence certification letter is current as of January 26. The letter of credit on file is effective actually through today. And so a new letter covering the remainder of 26 will be I'm recommending the board put that as a required condition of approval. We do need to have that according to the mineral mining ordinance on behalf of the operator of the mine. We have compaction test records from February and September of 25. The end use plan for this site currently shows an industrial development with 2 buildings, and I do occasionally get calls about this site as it is nearing the end of its life as a mine and has been listed for sale. The master plan, the city's master plan, shows this site designated industrial on one side and residential on the other, and kind of could go either way depending on what comes to the city. The site is currently zoned agricultural and would be rezoned through any development that takes place, and so that would be reviewed when that moves forward in the future. And that is what I have for the board.
Thank you. Initial comments, questions? Then I will invite the applicant up to provide an update on the state of the project and see where we're at.
I'm Brad Myers of Myers Behemoths. As noted, this operation is getting to that final stage within the next probably year, 2 years. I think we have on there to 2027 September. And that's based on, again, the market. There's quite a bit of interest in the mine, so that's going to in that property. So that's a driving force on what we're trying to do. The material that was taken out last year was basically just pushed maybe 100 feet to the east. There wasn't a lot of activity as far as that goes, because what's happening now is we're in an overburdened area where there's about 20 feet of clay that has to be removed to get to the sand. So it's very tedious operation. So we're kind of in that phase of kind of cleaning things up, trying to get material moved around, and compaction tests on that as we move it, because we are putting it in areas where we have more than a foot of fill going in. So we are getting compaction tests on that. We have one compaction test that's hanging out there that failed, I believe, in 24. And that one is flagged and will be addressed probably in June, when we start on some other compaction tests for areas that are being reclaimed. The demand is there. It's just a matter of getting to the sand on this site. So you got to be pretty aggressive to try and get to the sand. So it's at its end use. So we're just trying to clean it up, get things shaped up. The operator does plan on taking material out. He's got things going in the community, so and then one of the things Travis had on there was the tracking out on the 3 Mile. We'll keep a real close eye on that and look at putting in some type of mat or something if needed adjacent to where we have it paved.
Great. Any comments or questions for the applicant. I think you're all set for now. With that, I will look for a motion and support to open the public hearing.
Make a motion.
All right, we have motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Public hearing is open. Is there anyone in the public wishing to provide public comment on this project? Seeing none, I will look for a motion and support to close the public hearing.
I'll make the motion to close.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The public hearing is closed. All right. Any additional discussion from the board?
Sure. Like Brad, I think you gave a good summary of where we're at with all this. Yeah, that one location that we had that failed compaction test from a few years ago, to the mining operator's credit, I do believe they intended to retest it. It looks to me that the wrong test site was gone to by the testing company. So that's why I appreciate you going back out there and getting that looked at in June of this year. So their plans are updated and that'll be taken care of. Like you said, I think you're still looking towards a 2027 completion date, which means from the board's perspective, I think there's a whole procedure in the ordinance that we have not gone through in quite some time to actually close out a mine. So that's something that we're gonna want to keep an eye on as we get closer to that 2027 date. And then thank you for talking about the vehicle tracking pad. They have the paved driveway and that works most of the time, but when it gets muddy, sometimes we all know Kaylee will get the calls about tracking on 3 Mile. And so that's why sometimes there's vehicle tracking pads can help. I did have a question though. I think sheet 5 has like a close-up of it. So I believe maybe it's sheet 5 on here too. Yeah. So if you look at the upper right corner, you see the driveway that goes out to 3 Mile. And if you go all the way to the south side of the driveway, you'll see it says proposed proposed, it was just to your right now, proposed 8-inch crushed concrete. Is that kind of like the idea of where the tracking pad would go, Brad?
I think that was back when we first started that. Yeah, but now we would put it towards, in
Yep.
that same area. I think we're a little bit farther back with our pavement, but that's about the area it would go.
Okay.
That's where I was thinking, to the south
Yep.
of the existing.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understood that right. So the mining operator is in compliance by having the 300-foot paved driveway. So this is not a condition, but I appreciate you keeping an eye on it because when things get bad, it's like every day you sweep or you decide to handle it on site.
And we had, it gets to be common sense too.
Yep.
Where if the pit itself is extremely wet,
Mm-hmm.
stay out.
Okay. Yep. Well, it sounds like maybe you're not mining it as much as in years past because the sand's harder to get to.
Right.
So okay.
Right.
Okay.
And they have been very good. They've come up with the idea that, hey, let's move it up where it will be dry.
Yep.
Before they get the rain, so they have it in case they're running for that day
Okay.
or 2 days ahead. And we eliminate some of that traffic.
Okay. That's good. So no conditions from my point of view.
Other feedback or discussion? Great. Then I suppose we are looking for a motion to approve the renewal with the, as the planning director had outlined in the report.
I can make a motion to conditionally approve the application in that the applicant provides an updated letter of credit.
There's support? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, all set to move forward. We are waiting very anxiously to see what proceeds on the site. I live in the neighborhood there, so.
There's, that's a discussion we'll have to have shortly, I think.
Yeah, I've heard quite the range of opportunities come forth, so we'll look forward to hearing more. All right, with that, we move to staff comments and discussion.
I have just one comment for the board, and that is at the staff review committee meeting, there was a brief discussion of scheduling for sometime this summer a tour of the mines for the board. It's been several years since the board went out and visited all of the mine sites. So if that's something the board agrees they would like to do, I'll work on getting that scheduled probably in the middle of the summer.
I would be very interested in that.
I would second that, and I just do want to say we are at the mines, just not all
yes.
collectively as one
Yes,
board.
and not necessarily in this context.
Yes, exactly. And I think with so many new members on the board, that would be very beneficial, especially as one or maybe two of these move towards closure in the next few years. So yes, summer field trip would be much appreciated.
Great. And as far as election of officers, I would suggest moving that into the next board meeting next year. I am terming out on the city commission, so I'm not sure what that will look like as far as the makeup of the board, so I would recommend that becomes a 2027 meeting item. All right, with that, any other discussion among the board?
I think it's important to point out, I know it was mentioned the city of Grand Rapids plans on reconstructing their portion of Butterworth for the mines that are on Butterworth, so I'm sure they'll be coordinating that, but the city of Walker anticipates not reconstructing their section, but overlaying their section probably in the next couple years, so we'll try to communicate that the best we can with the owners and the operators.
Yeah. In other words, good luck, have fun, folks. All right, well, with that, we will call the meeting adjourned.